Hi guys, Dr. Lou here for Dr. Lou's Low Carb Diets. Now, today we're doing another taste test of a premium product from, that's right, Atkins. So again, we reviewed a few of their bars, and generally, they've got very good flavors in some of them, and pretty much so far, all of them I've liked. None of them I've thought, oh, that's just not good enough. They cut the mustard, if you will. So the whole idea is we're going to look at these, and we're going to try to see if this is one of the goodies, whether it helps us with the ketone production and the taste, the flavor, the texture. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to put the full packaging, because this comes in a box of 5. So I'll put the whole packaging up there so we can discuss, obviously, the ingredients, see if it's going to be, good or conducive for a low-fat diet. And so we understand, yes, this is good for us. Yeah, we can use it, or no, this is pretty bad, or must have in moderation. So, without further ado, let's put up the packaging so we can see it and discuss it. Okay, so here we are. There it is. Okay, now what's the main idea behind this bar? Okay, this one's a treat. Okay, so we understand that you can have it anytime. It's designed to be a good source of fiber. You have 1 gram of sugar and 2 gram of net carbs. Okay, this is an Atkins Endulge. Okay, so we're saying, obviously, you don't want to eat more than one a day of these. It's a caramel nut chew bar, which is naturally and artificially flavored. And this looks like an accurate image. You've got 5 34-gram bars. Okay, and from what I can see, they do look the same to the treat as the box image shows. Okay, so here it goes. Let's jump on. This is further on the side. Now this is interesting because usually they put their class down the side, how they class the actual treat, and it's actually on the side here. But it's not here at the moment. So what they have instead is just saying, again, the caramel nut chew bar, and it's today's Atkins is all about great tasting food to help you live your best life. Okay, so it's just like a little soundbite, if you will, a little bit of advertising for the brand. Now, this is on the back of the box next to the nutritional information. This is what Atkins wants you to know about, the overall experience. So doing Atkins doesn't mean you're on a diet. You are on a diet. Countless people have lost weight living the Atkins lifestyle, because at Atkins we know that when we eat better, good things happen. Limiting the amount of sugar and both simple and refined carbs can help minimize spikes in blood sugar. And that's a good thing. 100% that's a good thing. What really you want to see there is them talking about white refined sugar. Yeah, better alternative, brown sugar. White refined flour, better alternative, wholemeal. Yeah. White rice, better alternative, brown rice. And you can look at my other videos covering this type of thing. That'll be on my health channel, the one talking about myths and busting certain myths that people always get in their minds. And we will look at it based on only scientific research. Now, here, learn more about the benefits of living low carb at atkins.com. There's a website. Go visit it. Enjoy. Atkins Endulge treats were designed to make you ask, how is this possible? Certainly are quite tasty. They're seriously indulgent, little treats that satisfy those late afternoon, late at night, okay, whenever cravings. Okay? So, and since they don't have a ton of sugar or net carbs, tasting them might make you believe anything is possible when you indulge with Atkins. Well, yeah, I mean, you're looking, so this bar here, you're looking at 2 grams net carbs, right? So that's what you want to know. So you're absorbing 2 grams of net carbs. And so if that's the main idea, you go, okay, how can I, if you really wanted to, you could enjoy maybe say these quite a few times a day. So for example, when you wake up, have your breakfast, eat one of these. When you have your lunch, eat one of these. When you have your dinner, eat one of these. Late at night, eat one of these. What would that be? It was meant to be 8 grams of carb. Well, that means then you've got to eat 12 grams in the rest of your meals. And how does that work? Milk, you'll obviously have to make sure the milk you use is a certain amount, such, for example, a certain amount of milliliter, so you don't overindulge in lactose sugar for your carbohydrates. You also have to make sure that you eat the correct vegetables if you're going to have them on the diet. Easy to do. How can you do this? Well, it's very easy, in fact. What you do is you focus on just eating meat, chicken, fish, just as they are. You cook them. You don't obviously add anything but something simple like garlic, ginger, salt, pepper, these type of things that are not going to impact on your carbs. Now, you will have them probably side with some eggs. Okay? Why? Because this means you literally eat zero carbs. So when you come to eat this, your whole daily intake should be only 8 grams, and you'll still be strongly in ketosis. Things don't always work that way. So, for example, you have your breakfast, you might have eggs, but you might then, have your coffee, which is a bit milky in the morning. You might then turn around and have your lunch, and you have tomatoes with it. You might turn around and have your dinner, and you have mushrooms with it. That's all fine, as long as you measure them, or sort of weigh them, and make sure, obviously, that percentage that you get from them, that you're putting it in line with how many carbs you've had for the day. So we go, okay. That's the main idea about keeping the ketosis still in play. You need to stick to pretty much 20 grams below. Okay. Now, very interesting. They put the indulge information on the back this time instead of the side of the packaging. Who knows? This is probably because they wanted to give some more information about the indulge range or model of their treats. Here we go. Next slide. These are the ingredients. Now we have number one sweetener, maltitol. It's not that bad at all. It's just that, most people don't understand. Yes, many of them we don't absorb, but this one we do absorb 50 to 75%. Peanuts, lovely. Inulin, polydextrose, whey protein isolate, unsweetened chocolate, cocoa butter, cream, water, contains less than 2% of sodium caseinate, palm kernel oil, non-fat milk. We have milk protein isolate, milk fat, salt, soy lecithin, natural and artificial flavors, mono and diglycerides, mixed tocopherols, bracket they tell you to maintain freshness, and sucralose. So this is a form of vitamin E, and it does help keep things stable, especially for fats. There's a lot of fat in this. Quite important. Sucralose, we're more interested in sucralose and maltitol. Those dudes are the ones we're looking for because they're going to be the ones that either we don't absorb. Maltitol, 50% to 75% absorption. So that's quite important to understand. And this one, you've got a lot more maltitol than peanuts, so that's a little bit shocking. I assume that's for the caramel. Now, you have a few other things to talk about. Why mono and diglycerides? Again, they usually use certain ones. Well, if you're familiar with triglycerides and understanding cholesterol and in your cell membrane of each cell, then you would understand what they're talking about. So you usually have a tri, you've got a mono and a di, which is 1 and 2. Now, when you come down to understand this is just simply for stabilization. They want to ensure that, obviously, that the right mix for the certain textures and a certain type of creaminess exist. And there are a few other reasons why they use it. Now, each of these have a reason why they're there. Again, the most important one, understanding, is maltitol and also the sucralose. So sucralose, thumbs up, good stuff, don't need much, it's powerful. Maltitol, again, this one is the one that I'm always cautious with, and I like to check my ketones afterwards to ensure that if there's especially a high amount, it hasn't impacted on my body that much. Because this is meant to be 2 grams, okay? And so things in my mind aren't adding up in a way. Contains milk, soy, peanuts, allergies. Made in a facility that also uses wheat and tree nuts. Allergies again. So obviously telling you what to be aware of. Contains a bioengineered food ingredient. That's our friend soy. So again, very interesting, maybe a lesson to be learned when we bioengineer something. Be very cautious because then you have to label everything if it spreads. So, unfortunately, that's the way it went. Now, moving on, here we go. So, what we've got here on the left are the nutrition facts or nutritional information. 5 servings per container. Each bar is 34 grams. Fantastic. Okay, so that's the bar there. 34 grams. It's quite small. Calories of 130. Not bad. Right, having a look here. Total fat, 8 grams. Saturated fat, 4 grams. You have 0 trans fats, which are good. Now, everybody abandoned trans fats. They were obviously man-made. Polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. Poly is 1 gram. Mono is 3 grams. Cholesterol, 5 milligrams. Sodium, 50 milligrams. So again, not particularly too high in either of those. Now, this is the one we're more interested in. Total carbohydrates, 16 grams. 5 grams dietary fiber. Brilliant, because most dietary fiber we can't absorb. Job done. Total sugars, 1 gram. Yet sugar alcohols, 9 grams. So I would love them to break this down into which one they are, because then that way, because then it would add up for me, because it says 2 grams here of net carbs. Now, you say to yourself, okay, we've got 16 here. You take away 6 here, so you've got 1 gram there, which is going to hit you pretty much. So you go, okay, there's 10 left. There's 1 missing. So what you have to do is you have to look in the ingredients, and usually it comes from something like cocoa, maybe a certain type of dietary fiber. It will add maybe another carb. So that's why usually they don't show it here. Then you see that the sugar alcohols are 9 grams. So if you've got 1 gram sugar, but you've got 2 gram net carbs, that's obviously another 1 gram from somewhere. So obviously it's not adding up very well. Obviously, hopefully, if someone's out there from Atkins, maybe you can explain to me. There are many reasons, obviously, as to why something could be this way. Why you have 2 net carbs, but yet you have 9 grams sugar alcohols, and maltitol is the number 1 ingredient, meaning it must be the majority of those sugar alcohols. And 50, say for example, if it's sucralose makes up 2 grams, that's 7 grams. That means for sure 3.5 grams maltitol are going to absorb as a sugar. So maybe they're not including the maltitol as in that it absorbs. So again, that might be the issue. You've got 1 gram there for sugars and another maybe gram for the additional starches or things that have affected in the ingredients overall. Anyway, we will test it, and if the ketones are affected, you will know. Okay, so next protein is 5 grams. Vitamin D, 0. Iron, you've got 0.6 milligrams. Calcium, 20 milligrams. Potassium, 80 milligrams. Again, sodium chloride, or the sodium you get from table salt, which is sodium chloride, the sodium will be utilized in your body very importantly, as well as potassium as well. So they're both key electrolytes that you need for your body. And there are lots of supplements that you can get. Yeah. And obviously, we'll go into that in another video. Let's jump on. Okay, so it's just the beautiful me. Now, here we go. There's the bar. Lovely quality, foil wrapped. Atkins does this job beautifully. They know what they're doing when it comes to making packaging, advertising, colourful, packaging. It must cost them quite a bit of money to make this packaging. Now, the product inside, of course, this is the one thing I'm curious about. They use maltitol. Yes, it is good for the flavour of sugar, but at the same time, it's the cheapest, and it's the one that's going to still have an effect. Yeah, look at me, I'm going Italian. It's like, what are you doing, huh? So, the main idea here is we want to taste it and then see if it impacts on the ketones. That's the most important part. Taste and also whether it impacts. So this is the bar. Let's do the aroma or the smell sniff test. Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. It's very nice indeed. Yeah, that's nice. So basically, it's got a very strong peanutty smell, a little weaker smell of the chocolate. It's definitely the peanuts coming out there. Now let's see if it lives up to the taste. Yep, this is nice. I'm thinking a 9 out of 10. Not as good as the other peanutty bar the other day that I reviewed. It's a caramel bar, but still quite nice and a nice kind of texture. Although I prefer a little bit more firmness or a bit more resistance. It really is a kind of caramel with a powdered peanut inside. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tastes nice. So at the end of the day, this I would definitely say the texture's nice and smooth, smells nice, and the flavour's quite nice. I'll give it 9 out of 10. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish this, go off and test to see later, 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it might be longer, because if it's a late time, obviously we'll do it in the morning. Um, that would tell us if the ketones have been interrupted. Now, why 2 to 4 hours? If you watch my videos, you'll know that obviously it takes about a rough time to get those ketones, what you've consumed, to hit your body, and the ketones as well in your body to respond. You have that whole idea of them being produced and the overflow coming out in your urine. And that takes time once you've eaten this to see if it has an impact on your body, to stop the ketones, for example, if it's too sugary. Now, again, this is very nice. If you want to buy this product, you can look down into the description. I've got your link there for you. Click on it. Off you go. Enjoy. Probably you want to wait until in a second once I come back. A second to you. It's going to be a few hours for me. And we're going to see if this doesn't, cause a problem or an impact to ketone production. I think it most likely it's cool because the other bar we did, which was a fantastic bar, it was 10 out of 10, didn't cause any issues. This one hopefully doesn't as well, but I will give you the real information. So, okay, guys, so I will see you in a few seconds, few hours for me. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so coming back from the test, it showed that there was really no significant move whatsoever in the ketosis. So thumbs up for that Atkins bar. Extremely tasty, brilliant. I'd recommend that highly for flavour. And it doesn't seem to have any impact, which is fantastic. So if you like, please thumbs up and subscribe, please, for more of this content. Any questions, please put them in the comments and please feel free to ask about anything you're not sure about. Okay, guys, so if you want to buy that as well, it'll be down in the description. So click on the link and then go and, buy the bar or the bars that you like. So see you next time, guys. Adios.